It looks like we are probably going to be getting some additional Game Pass tiers. And I don't think this is a huge surprise. I think if you've been paying attention to streaming services, this is something that is of the norm. And I think Xbox is still really trying to find its sweet spot here. There's going to be a lot of more tweaks here. There's going to be additional tweaks. It's clear they want everybody into Game Pass Ultimate with their most recent tweak. So let's go through this. There's two articles. First, we're going to read the article from Pure Xbox. Now, Pure Xbox is basically just summarizing what is said over at Windows Central by Jez Gordon. So they do a better job of summarizing it. So let's review the Pure Xbox article, and then we're going to go take a look and see what Jez Gordon says, because he does make a few points that I want to hit on, namely the growing pains with a streaming service. And he says there's still huge potential in the future for Game Pass, and he's 100% correct. And he even calls out himself. Everybody that's criticizing Game Pass and the Game Pass tiers are often people that don't subscribe to Game Pass. They've not yet subscribed to it. They're not even in it. So, and I've noticed the same thing. When you go and look at some of the most ardent people online that say Game Pass is going to fail, it's people who have never even tried it out. So it's just the norm of social media in 2024. You got to fight the trolls. Don't feed the trolls, fight the trolls. All right, let's go over this report. This is the headline. Xbox reportedly exploring potential for various new Game Pass tiers. A cloud-only version seems very possible. A cloud-only version makes complete sense. You've still got the PC-only one that is $11.99, I believe, as an option. So to have something, especially with Amazon Fire Stick out there at a cloud-only, makes the most sense. Personally, I would like to see the friends and family. Apparently, that's not yet been kiboshed. They did experiment with it. It may still be coming. We don't know, but friends and family, I personally would definitely take advantage of. So let's go through this. It's already been confirmed that Microsoft will be introducing a new Game Pass standard tier into the mix very soon. Apparently, there have been considerations for various other tiers of Game Pass as well. As reported by Windows Central, the big one that Microsoft seems keen on. Keen is such a British word. PureXbox.com is from the UK. Well, so many of the gaming journalist sites are out of the UK. It's interesting. Anyways, Microsoft seems to be keen on is a cloud variant of Game Pass where players don't have to subscribe to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate in order to get cloud gaming access. Now, if you remember with the recent changes, you have to have Ultimate in order to have the cloud gaming access. None of the other tiers include that. So to have a cloud-only access makes complete sense in my mind. This would make sense for the likes of mobile and Amazon Fire TV Stick users who currently have to fork out the highest price tier. Quote, I've heard that Microsoft is working towards a cloud-only version of its subscription that would be cheaper and more approachable to buy than Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. That's a quote from Jez Gordon over at Windows Central. Beyond this, Microsoft has apparently been exploring the potential of an ad-based Xbox Game Pass tier, although it's not currently in the works. We also know that some games are looking at offering ad-based, ads in games. I think it's only a matter of time before that comes. That makes sense to me as well. Particularly, like, let's think about a huge game like Fortnite, for instance. Imagine an ad plays on a banner on the top of your screen, or even in the game on a billboard before a match, after a match. Your loading screens are opportunities for ad screens as well, especially in a live service game where you can swap them out frequently. So I have no doubt that we're going to see more of that, especially in the free-to-play realm. But I also have no doubt that we may see something like that. I mean, Amazon Prime, for instance, has ad-based. All the streaming services have moved to an ad-based version, and then you have to upgrade to get rid of the ads, which is annoying. But it does make sense why they do it. Some streaming services, just out of my personal habits, I don't know about your personal habits and preferences, some I keep the ads on, doesn't bother me. I'm not huge. I don't want to pay more. Others, for instance, HBO Max, I upgrade. Or not HBO Max, but Netflix, I upgrade, for instance, to not have the ads there. Just, you got to take into account your personal finances, your preferences, how many subscription services are you subscribed to at any one time. Those are always in flux for me. I'm always jumping in between. So it makes sense that Game Pass is taking a look at that. Although it's not currently in the works, he says, they say the family and friends plan that was tested and then surprisingly removed in 2023 apparently, quote, isn't dead either. Something that was also basically confirmed by Microsoft back in December. So right now, it sounds like there's a lot going on behind the scenes in relation to Xbox Game Pass, and we'll have to see which of these ideas come to fruition. As things stand, though, it's just the one standard tier being introduced soon. Now, the standard tier clearly, if you remember, is meant to push you to upgrade to the Game Pass Ultimate tier. Now, the Ultimate tier has everything. It includes PC, it includes Xbox, it includes cloud streaming. And it's going to be interesting. I think another thing that I've been harping on for the last couple of weeks is, do we see some sort of more expensive tier, more premium tier than the Game Pass Ultimate that includes GeForce Now subscription as well? I think it would be very interesting if something like that were to come down the pipeline again. And I know I'm a huge fan of GeForce Now, and for those of you that watch regular, probably like, oh my goodness, shut up, stop talking about it. But it legitimately is the only viable cloud streaming service right now that is all the way there. All the way there. And anybody that's tried it out can attest to that. So I would be very interested. There's a partnership there already happening. We did see GeForce Now drop on the Microsoft Store game pages where you could choose to stream through Xbox Cloud Gaming or through GeForce Now. So will be interesting to see what's there. On that note, let's jump over to Jez Gordon. This is the actual article that PureXbox.com summarized from. And it's interesting. What's next for Game Pass? He says cloud-only tier, exploring ad-based tiers, and the return of the family plan. Since we've already covered that, it's why I wanted to read PureXbox.com's article first, because they summarized those 3 points really well. This is a very long article, but there are some key points that he makes here that I think are 100% correct. For instance, just right here at the top, Xbox Game Pass has had some growing pains recently, but it still has a wealth of untapped potential ahead. I think that is very well said and 1,000% accurate. Remember, the worst Game Pass, think about this. This is always said about AI. The worst it's going to be is right now, ever. So the worst Game Pass is going to be, the worst cloud gaming is going to be ever is currently, right now. It will only improve from here. It will only get better. That's crazy to think about. So I do agree that there's some untapped potential here. I just really wanted to read this first 2 sections here because I think he makes some really excellent point about these growing pains. So Xbox Game Pass is the tip of Microsoft's spear for growing its platform, but has had some growing pains lately. I don't think that is undeniable. I don't think that is deniable. I think that's absolutely true. And I think we're going to see more of those growing pains. Remember, this is brand new. I did a tweet a few weeks ago in response to an indie dev that said that Game Pass is breaking gaming, and I said, yeah, it's breaking gaming the same way the automobile broke the buggy whip. And some fools tried to say, are you saying the Game Pass is as revolutionary as the automobile? No, that's not what I was saying at all. What I was saying is it's a disruptor. That's the point. It's a disrupting technology. Streaming is. Video game streaming is that disruption technology. Subscription-based gaming is that disruption technology. And whenever you're a disruptor in an industry, there's going to be growing pains. Netflix saw it. Amazon Prime saw it. Xbox is seeing it. And we'll see more of it, no doubt. Netflix, Spotify, and other content-based digital subscription services have all undergone the same growing pains over the years. There you go. But there's nothing quite like the microscope Microsoft finds itself under with its own service. I've heard opinions run from the full gamut of, quote, nobody cares about Xbox Game Pass and it's dying, to, quote, Xbox Game Pass will destroy the game industry as we know it. Now, what's interesting, this was one of those tweets that I responded to. There was someone from Digital Foundry that responded, and I'll make a separate video about this where I review everything, where he said, I hope it dies. Let's hope that Game Pass dies. And I don't think this is a disruptor. And Jez Gordon actually responded to this guy, and he's a journalist over at Digital Foundry, saying, I don't believe it's a disruptor. Jez Gordon said, I agree. He responded to it. I have the receipt. So it's interesting here. So if he doesn't think I would ask Jez Gordon, if he doesn't think it's a disruptor, what does he think it is? Like, is it just another option? Is it not disrupting the industry? Because articles like this lead me to believe that he does think that. But then I see tweets where it's like he's trying to balance the chummy relationship that these journalists have between each other. I don't know. I'm not saying that he thinks either way. I'm genuinely asking. I don't know. Like, does he think it is? Or maybe it's, in fairness, maybe it's a wait and see. And I think that that's actually a fair position to have. Let's wait and see. Does this pan out to be a disruptor technology? That's not unfair. And it's probably a smart position to be in. I think it is a disruptor technology, and I think it's going to succeed. I think it's just a matter of time, and it's getting through these growing pains. Continuing on, he says, this is Jez Gordon, windowscentral.com. Go follow him on Twitter if you haven't. Often the negativity comes from people who don't actively use the service. Yes, I've been saying that for forever. So much of the hate comes from people who aren't even in the service. Like, bro, I can tell you don't know what you're talking about. Of course, developers have touted the service for providing much needed cash flow and investment. Users laud the value on offer. Xbox Game Pass follows every sentence Xbox speaks, yet it hasn't quite exploded as some people expected, perhaps Microsoft included. Yes, but who expected? Maybe Microsoft. Also, I don't know that that's the case. I think that the reason that you shill out billions of dollars is to get the content to then expand it. I think you got to get that content first, and then you can expand it. So then he goes on in this to just talk about analysts. So analyst firms like Ampere seem unanimous in their belief that Xbox Game Pass will continue to grow, although it might not be at the pace Microsoft initially wanted for it. According to Ampere, the firm expects Xbox Game Pass to hit $5.5 billion in revenue in 2025, which is absolutely huge. The firm suggests that Microsoft is trying to increase its average revenue per user, that's called ARPU. It's a marketing term, via price increases while also driving users to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Ampere argues that Microsoft is utilizing the fact that Xbox Game Pass console, now called standard, will no longer have access to day one games like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 later this year, moving people onto the more lucrative tier. Here's what Ampere said. Microsoft is mitigating the impact of improving consumer ARPU, again, revenue per user, through price increases, driving users to ultimate tier of Game Pass, and limiting the subscription stacking for Game Pass console to 13 months. Gamers who want to dip into Game Pass to play the new release will have to do it on Game Pass Ultimate or PC tier. I don't think that's unreasonable. I think it makes complete sense. We talked about it at the time when we went over it. And I think that's true. I think that's part of the growing pains, is figuring out your pricing models. That's what we're talking about in reviewing. And that's what Jez Gordon is essentially talking about here. It's why more Game Pass subscription tier models are probably coming. Let's go to his conclusion here as well, just to wrap this up, because he makes some points here. Here we go. I wrote an article, he says, previously detailing how Microsoft's distractions were leading to a degradation of the Xbox console experience, arguing that Microsoft had disconnected a bit from its core users and the fans who stuck by Xbox and continued investing despite the gallery of missteps over the years. I know you can't build an entire business on a single core cohort of users, but I think it's clear that Microsoft is struggling to balance all of its vast ambitions. Microsoft has to keep its developer partners and existing users happy while maintaining what it has today and also embarking on funds for the future. The recent Xbox Game Pass changes and pay rises are partially symptomatic of that balancing act. But that's what growing pains are all about, he says. Xbox Game Pass is a moody teenager, which I love that. Perhaps a bit rough around the edges, but full of vast, untapped potential. I agree with all of that, and I think that this is why Jez Gordon makes the big bucks and is writing here at Windows Central. He's probably like, if he's watching these, probably, I don't make the big bucks. No, but this is why he does what he does. Very talented writer here, and this is a good point. I think that, is Microsoft struggling to balance? I think Microsoft is not struggling to balance. I think they're struggling to balance their messaging. I don't think that they've ever been great at messaging. I think since the Xbox One reveal, they've struggled to find a cohesive message. I think we are starting to see that cohesive message come to fruition here, and hopefully they're able to continue with it and make it clear as we continue down the path of Game Pass. But I agree, it's filled with untapped potential. I think we are going to see more Game Pass tiers. I'm hopeful for friends and family personally. I'm also curious, like I said before, do we do anything with GeForce Now? Do we get an even more premium subscription tier that includes something like that? I don't know. That's just wishful thinking on my part, but I would love to know what you guys think. What do you think of the price tags? Do you think we're going to get a cloud only? Would you subscribe to a cloud only Game Pass tier for like an Amazon Fire Stick, for instance, situation? Do you think the current Game Pass tiers are enough, or do you want to see more? Would you subscribe to a friends and family? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. We cover videos like this all the time right here. Hang out, talk all things Xbox and games. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you guys next time.